Hey everybody, Ben the Bondsman here. So one of my comments was asking about collateral. So I'm going to make a quick overview on what collateral is and how we use it in the bonding business. And now this is all based on Mississippi law, and this is not legal advice. This is just what I know being a bondsman in the state of Mississippi. So first, what is collateral? Well, the definition of collateral is something pledged as security for repayment of a loan to be forfeited in the event of default. So in the bonding business, it's something placed as security for a bond, not a loan. And we can only liquidate that if the bond is forfeited and we wind up having to pay the bond. So in the bonding business, a lot of times people get out of jail and they either won't have a cosigner or maybe they're from out of state, or there's a few different scenarios where we'll require collateral to write that bond. So somebody puts up collateral. Sometimes it's cash, could be a vehicle, could be jewelry, could be land, property, a home. There a lot of different things can be used as collateral. So it's important, no matter what's being used as collateral, make sure you have a solid collateral agreement and make sure you understand the do's and don'ts of collateral. So that's what I'm going to try and cover here the best that I can. So your collateral agreement needs to lay out what the item is, what it's collateral for. If you have somebody on multiple bonds, it needs to be laid out in the agreement that the collateral is being held until all the bonds are clear. And if they don't get cleared and you wind up having to pay one or all of them, that you're going to liquidate the collateral, and what the estimated value of the collateral is. Like say it's a vehicle, but like recently I took a Corvette on bond that doesn't show up in Kelly Blue Book, so we had to estimate the value of the Corvette. The guy thought it was worth like $6,000, but after having a few people look at it and doing some research, it wound up only being worth like $3,500. It was a 89 Corvette, and it was in kind of rough shape. So um, that that's just an example. You want to make sure you have a clear title. If it's a vehicle or land, make sure there's no liens or holds. In my particular company, if we take a vehicle or property as collateral, we hold the vehicle and the title. The property, we hold the property deed. We get a quit claim deed. We make sure that our bases are covered. And if a bank has a lien on the property or a lien on the vehicle already, then that's a no-go for us. That's a no-fly zone because it's no good to us. We can't sell it. So make sure whatever you're taking as collateral is free and clear, no liens, and nobody else has claim to it. So also make sure that it's within reasonable value. Sometimes it can't be helped, but say you have a $5,000 bond and you're holding the title to a $50,000 vehicle. Of course, if you got a free and clear $50,000 vehicle title, usually that's going to be a good bond anyway. But that's neither here nor there. A lot of times, people like to use their junk vehicles as collateral. Make sure the vehicle runs. Make sure that it's not they've got a clear title to a vehicle that's sitting on blocks in their yard, stuff like that. But make sure the value is reasonable to the bond. Now, there's nothing in the law that says that it has to be, but it'll save you a lot of headache if it is. And here's why. Say you write a $5,000 bond, and let's say you take $100,000 piece of property. It's a huge piece of property somewhere that's the last time that there was a estimate done on the property by a realtor, the estimated value was $100,000. Well, then the person don't come to court; they skip and run. Well, now you got now you got to liquidate the property to get your $5,000 back. Most bonding companies are not going to liquidate that property. Most bonding companies are going to go ahead and try and go ahead and try and find that person and get it taken care of, because then it's a headache. Then you got, you got a realtor, you got to put the property on the market. Then once the property is sold, then you have to return the value to the person. Well, the person's on the run, and if you keep the difference between the 5,000 and 100,000, then you're committing a crime. So your person's on the run. You can't just give it to anybody, and you got to hold on to all this money, and it can be messy when you're dealing with values that different. So you can't just say, oh, well, my $5,000 bond absconded, I had to pay the bond off, it's a nice piece of property, I think I'm going to go put my hunting trailer on it and use it as my weekend getaway, and just keep it. You can't do that. No more than you could the $50,000 truck. Oh, it's a pretty truck, I think, I'm just going to pay the $5,000 bond and then drive this truck around. You're breaking the law by doing that. What you're supposed to do, what you have to do, is liquidate the property or the vehicle at reasonable market value, and you get your expenses out of it, the $5,000 bond plus any attorney's fees, any reasonable fees, and then you got to return the difference to the original owner of the property. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with collateral. I know there are bondsmen out there that acquire vehicles and land and houses and things based on people missing court, and not only is it illegal, it's unethical, and if they ever get caught, then they're going to be in a world of trouble. So make sure you're being reasonable. I have never kept a piece of collateral on a bond. I have taken items in lieu of money for payments, but I've never kept collateral on a bond. I always liquidate it. So if you got collateral that's not worth as much as the bond, say you've got a $5,000 bond, a $3,000 vehicle, well, that's a different story. You liquidate the vehicle, and that person still owes you the $2,000. So remember, if you take collateral and you use it before it's time to liquidate it, or before that collateral agreement has been fulfilled, then that's called conversion. That's a felony in most states. It's definitely a felony in Mississippi. Say you get somebody out, you're holding on to their truck as collateral, and you decide to use the vehicle on the weekends to do your personal errands. That's conversion. That is a felony in Mississippi, and you could lose everything doing that. So that's the basics of collateral. I hope that clears it up for you, and I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Ben the Bondsman signing out. Remember, bail bonding isn't what we do, it's who we are.